The tricky thing about Schweitzer's work is that she needs to get her hands on the insides of dinosaur bones, which means literally breaking the bones apart. Being a fossil, there should have been nothing left. But there was, and it was elastic, like living tissue.
This is the piece.
No.
She showed us video she took under the microscope.
That's really what happened?
Yes.
That's the dinosaur bone?
That's what was left.
It looked like the soft tissue she would have expected to find if it had been modern bone. This was impossible. This bone was 68 million years old.
So you see this and you think, what? You
I didn't want to tell anybody.
You'd be ridiculed,
Yes.
right?
And so I said to my technician, okay, do it again. I don't believe it.
And yet, in sample after sample, they were there. Things that looked suspiciously like flexible, transparent blood vessels. She finally mustered the courage to tell Jack.
I mean,
How could that be?
How could that be? That's right.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones,
Look at that.
blood vessels, and even what seemed to be intact cells, pose a radical challenge to the existing rules of science, that organic material can't possibly survive even 1,000,000 years, let alone 68 million. Mary, Jack, and their team published their B-Rex findings in a series of papers in the journal Science and were promptly attacked. Critics said their samples might have been contaminated.
It's impossible for these materials to exist in the ground for millions and millions of years. So this disproves evolution and proves that these materials are simply the remnants of creatures that died approximately 4,500 years ago in a great worldwide flood called Noah's Flood.
Dinosaur soft tissue is another example of the scientists ignoring the evidence. Here we have evidence that they're not as old as they say, and yet we're supposed to ignore it. Because obviously, if there's soft tissue, it must last 65 million years because we know dinosaurs were 65 million years ago. Well, are you sure about that? Because the evidence is saying something else. And the truth is, they only accept evidence that lines up with what they've already decided is true, and they ignore the rest. But we're all supposed to just accept that as science because they told us, even though they haven't shown us, and though we're seeing opposite.
Dinosaur soft tissue, and we keep finding it. Matter of fact, when you ask the scientists who find these things, they actually say that it's so rampant you can literally go into a museum, pull out a drawer where these dinosaur bones have been for hundreds of years, break them open and find dinosaur DNA and material that's inside of them. That's how rampant it is.
So just the fact that we have found dinosaur soft tissue just within the past century proves that the Earth cannot be millions of years old. A lot of atheists, when they had heard this, they discredited the person who came out with it, a fellow evolutionist.
Even if you were to put dinosaur soft tissue inside of an airtight jar, that was in another airtight jar and another airtight jar, deep time will always cause things to deteriorate. So there's no way that it could have lasted 65 million years. It's lucky that it even lasted 1,000 years. I mean, you look at animals that die out in nature today, they decay almost right away. Well, here's what the Bible says about dinosaurs. Now remember, Job apparently never saw a dinosaur, according to these people. Job 40 verse 15, it says, "Behold now a behemoth, which I made with thee." So the Bible says that whatever this creature is, it was made with Job. It was the same time frame. "He eateth grass as an ox." And they say, "Huh, see, we gotcha. That's not a dinosaur. It ate grass."
Remember when evolution said that 55 million years ago, grass evolved? It was the first time they had ever seen grass. Dinosaurs never saw grass. And then they decided, we're going to start investigating to see what dinosaurs ate.
They dug up dinosaur feces, which I don't know how it lasted 65 million years. But they discovered dinosaur feces, and they tested the feces of the dinosaur, and guess what the dinosaur ate?
Dinosaur dung is full of grass. That falsifies grass evolving after dinosaurs. Dinosaurs lived 65 million years. Grass evolved 55 million years ago. Dinosaurs ate grass. Which one is it? Falsified again. Grass evolved way before that, according to their own theory now, but they didn't find grass in the fossil records, so therefore grass didn't exist.
He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together.
It moved its tail like a cedar. Do you guys know of any creature that moves its tail and it's as big as a cedar tree? There's nothing like that out there except a brachiosaur or dinosaur.
God is nowhere in the law of thermodynamics.
But you weren't really able to tell me what those were.
Fair enough. To be very clear, science, not my area at all. However, there is a countless number of possibilities.